Hey YouTube, coming at you with the Great League team, and this is from Apex. And yes, they're near towards the beginning of the season, but they are a level 2 member of the channel. They were one of the first people to buy the membership, so I really appreciate the support on those. So we are definitely going to showcase this. It was a Catch Cup team, Shadow Giratina, Seaking, Moltres, so that's probably why the Pokemon were limited. And it said I get super lucky for once with this Giratina, 7713, not bad IVs. It took me about 10 sets and dropped 200 elo to find a team that works decently for my ability. I think Dragon Breath is more versatile than Shadow Claw. I tried Shadow Force for a few sets, but it takes way too long. Agreed. Dragon Claw and Shadow Sneak both hit for 72 damage, but Dragon Claw is 10 energy less, so you threw that whenever. Yes, correct. The team is double weak to Electric and Fairy, and Dedenne can be an overall threat, but Seaking is has usable coverage against both. Moltres is a solid closer, 7-3 overall with this team. P.S. I cut off the second match because I didn't turn on the Do Not Disturb like you should and got whacked by Payback and lost. Okay, so I'll remember that. For the team, so I understand this is a catch cup, and even in my catch cups, I was using teams double week to Fairy and double week to Go, or like triple week to Go. So I'm going to forgive the team a little bit here. That being said, if you are in the Open Great League in particular, and you're going to run a team double week to Fairy, I would probably run Shadow Claw just because it gives you, like, again, Wigglytuff, you're just kind of in trouble anyways. But Dedenne with the Shadow Claw is actually not the worst matchup because you resist the electric. So Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, neutral there would be good. I do agree that Shadow Breath, and again, this is all for now because Shadow Breath is getting a significant change next season. Sorry, not Shadow Breath, Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath is getting a change next season. But the Shadow Dragon Breath can really be overpowering on Giratina, especially in the Great League. But yeah, let's take a look at that. Take a look at it. Seaking, I've used Seaking multiple times before. It is a very frustrating use because it's just 3 non-stab moves, same type attack bonus. So Poison Jab, Icy. First of all, it's Triple Legacy, which is always accessible issues. Poison Jab, Icy Wind, Drill Run do not get same type attack bonus because Seaking is a water Pokemon. So, when you're using like a poison Pokemon to cover that Fairy, like you're double weak to Fairy, if you're using a poison jab move, I would rather just get the stab on it and just use a poison Pokemon that actually resists the Fairy and gets a little more damage associated with the same type attack bonus. But let's take a look at it in action. Giratina mirror match. So with the Dragon Breaths, I believe you can take it in the 2v1 here at worst, I should say. Just because the Dragon Breath damage can do so much, both deciding to instant swap. So we have a Corviknight against a Moltres. So yeah, kind of a weird one. Sucker Punch is neutral, but your charge moves are resisted. Meanwhile, their Sand Attack is resisted, but their charge moves are neutral. So just getting off a fly. They do shield anyways. See if we can get another move here. If we can't, yeah, let's just get this move off. Any chip is good here. Now, we're going to shield. I guess kind of looking around and seeing that you have 2 other resisted fast moves in Dragon Breath and Poison Jab. Do get the farm down. Moltres, again, I think you kind of correctly identified that Moltres with energy can really threaten people. So here comes a fly. This will probably take out Giratina from this range and can get maybe a little more energy. And I would get off the fly here just to chip it. Where do you go here? Going to Giratina right away just to get this Dragon Claw off. Yeah, basically just put it into Drill Run range. See if you can just chip a bunch here. Poison is resisted. They're going to have to throw at least an Earthquake. Giratina in the Great League may not even live in Earthquake from this range. Acid Spray. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, this is 1900. There is a huge difference in ELO range if you're not in your proper ELO range. And let me just Acid Spray Mega Horn is quite the decision to be made on this Pokemon in the Great League. I'll tell you what I mean in a little bit here. So bad lead. Going to Seaking. Poison is resisted. You do have the Icy Wind. Going for a nope. You're going for a resisted Drill Run. Drill Run is double resisted on the flyer. and super effective on the steel. So it is net single resisted, whereas Icy Wind, not only does it lower the attack, it would also hit neutral because it would hit super effective against Flyer and only single resisted against steel. So that Icy Wind is the correct move here. But do get some chip here with the drill runs being single resisted. They do have some energy. You know, you can come and sucker punch down and commit a shield here if you want. You can live one. They give up switch into Diggersby, which is not a good answer either. Okay, so this is not a good answer either. They don't really have any charge moves to throw at you, just a non-stab fire punch. One fly does good chip damage here. The fly, a huge improvement this season on Galarian MOLTRES. So here comes the second fly. And this is, I'm guessing, the one that you talked about, the payback coming, because we got a couple notifications already here. But here comes the third fly. Galarian MOLTRES putting in some work here. It is definitely one of the stronger flying Pokemon in a meta that is pretty limited with flying Pokemon, quite honestly. Shielding up a Sludge Bomb. Gonna try and make a catch here on the Giratina. Catch on the Giratina. Yeah, you gotta make that catch. You gotta see that it's coming. Knowing that they're just gonna go Sludge Bomb. You need to try and make that catch. Over farming a little bit at this point. I forget what they have left. Have we seen what they have left? So they're gonna get a move here. Hope it's a resisted Sludge Bomb and not an Earthquake, or else you're already in trouble. You're in trouble. Down a shield. And I'm guessing the payback was coming in after. It does not really matter. With you were down a shield, so you're in trouble. Okay, good lead. Poison is resisted. So they're gonna have to throw. No. Okay, let's talk about Elo range, and you shouldn't be switching after they just threw an acid on you. Okay, so let's talk about while we just take a break from the battles here to talk about Elo ranges, because they do affect how strong your opponents are, and I'm seeing that with a 24-1 record I just had with a team to get me back up to where I think I should be. So it is very true that there are different skill levels in GBL, and these are in the 1900 range. And in the 1900 range, not surprising, we are seeing a huge amount of mistakes all over the place from both players here. We're seeing just not even having the right move set on your Pokemon, throwing resisted moves, leaving matchups that you should be staying in. There's a lot there that, like, you know, if you want to get to the basic ace rank, you need to know how to do this stuff. So if you want to get out of this Elo range, that's the separate stuff you need to know. You need to know the movesets. You need to know typings and matchups. You need to know that's the basics. You will always be in the Elo range, realistically, with the players of your caliber, unless something happens. Unless, like, you get like one thing that happened is once people hit legend and they don't want to wait for times, a lot of them just like tank, and then you may see someone who's like an incredible player down in like the 2300s, then just trying to run up. I never like that. I've called it out multiple times. I don't think that's fair. People always argued, well, we give out free wins on the way down. It's like, yeah, okay, but the wins you give out on the way down are probably the ones that are going to hit legend anyways. And then the ones in like the 2500 range, when you're finally getting there, are the ones who may or may not hit legend, and you're just kind of making sure they don't hit legend. So I never liked that strategy. But what just happened to me was, I'm generally, again, I've hit legend, I don't know how many times, what am I at, 19 times, whatever. And at this point, I am pretty much a legend, maybe sometimes expert player. So in Catch Cup, I was at 2940, and I didn't have a bunch of Catch Cup Pokemon, so I just used whatever I had. So this is a good lead. Yeah, definitely staying here. Good timing. You can shield up a Flyer or Brave Bird if you want, or you can just let it go too. Once that lands, I shield, because now you're just going to Dragon Breath down. I guess that you're Dragon Breath down at second fire. That's an interesting strategy. And it is not even Typhlosion. It's not even the normal Typhlosion. It's the other Typhlosion. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, again, 1900, you get unique Pokemon, unique movesets, whatever. Anyway, so I was at 2940, and I didn't have any Catch Cup Pokemon, but I tried to play anyways, which was dumb. I had like 4 or 5 Pokemon. It was double week to Fairy, and they were everywhere. I was triple week to Ghost, and they were everywhere. And I lost 440 Elo. I dropped to 2500, which, with 2 weeks left in the season, I'm not a 2500 Elo player. So my first day, I went, I forget what the record was. It was a positive record, and I was up like 100 Elo. I was at like 25.99, 99, something like that. And then the second day, I went 24-1 to get up to 28.30. And that's the problem. It's not a problem with your Elo ranges, but this is why I think the Elo system works. You're basically always going to be aligned with players that you're in the range with, like that have the similar skill set of you. So if you're in the 1900 range, you're probably playing against other players who don't know typings and don't have the great Pokemon and don't know movesets and stuff like that. And if you're in the expert range, you're probably playing against experts. And then like me, who's generally an expert legend, and I dropped to 2500, I just ran 330 Elo in 2 days because it was easy for me, because I'm not with a week left in the season, I'm not a veteran player. So that's just sort of a side there. So sorry, I said I do less asides, but I think that was a valuable side. Okay, so Vaporeon, again, kind of a random one. But the Dragon Breath, yeah, Vaporeon's just not a good Pokemon, so Giratina is going to very easily handle this. This is why I think you actually have 2, although I don't like the team comp, I think you have 2 out of 3 strong Pokemon. I do not like Seaking. I kind of already explained why. Just a non-stab of all the movesets here, right? So as like you have a poison fast move against a fighter here, which is neutral, but poison generally resists fighting, but you don't resist fighting because you're a water. So I don't love that. But Moltres and Giratina are 2 very strong Pokemon, and yes, you can use Shadow Claw or Dragon Breath. If you're using Dragon Breath, it is slower, so Dragon Claw, Shadow Sneak is pretty much a must. You have the right movesets on Moltres. You kind of understand their strengths. Ooh, Dedenne is going to kill you here. What do? Just go straight Brave Bird? I think you live one. Yeah, I don't like the shield here. I think you would have lived one. But getting off a Brave Bird when you're going to lose this matchup anyways, I think it's just kind of a waste of a shield. Because now they're going to get to a second one. You have to just let this go. Dragon Breath is resisted. Seaking can come and get a couple poison jabs off to maybe take this out, even though their defense is boosted twice. And this is where the non-stab poison jabs come in. If you had a poison Pokemon, you probably take this out. You do not have a poison Pokemon, so poison jabs just don't do enough, and they live and get one more move off when they probably should not have. And this game is essentially over before it starts. Getting the Icy Wind here against Giratina is nice. We'll see how much damage it does. Not enough. These poisons are resisted. They're going to get to a move. Maybe try and get one more Icy Wind off and then instant swap here. They instant swap into Mandibuzz. Icy Wind super effective, so this is all right. But damage, I think, is done. You now have a Dark against your Ghost, and they have a shield advantage, and they have energy, so here comes a Dark Pulse. Yeah, you're in trouble. So, I think... I know, because Apex comments all the time. They're a long-time member, and so, again, I haven't been responding to all the comments, but I definitely read all the comments that are mentioned. And I know that Apex basically took a bunch of the season off. So they're not at 1900. I mean, I think they're probably a lower Elo player anyways, but they're only at 1900 because they had taken a bunch of time off this season. And I knew that. Registeel, this is where Shadow Claw would be better. But just going to stay in this matchup. Oh, don't do what I think you're going to do. Okay. Also, you have to throw Shadow Sneak. Dragon Claw is resisted. Yes, I understand that Dragon Claw and Shadow Sneak have the same damage, but when one is resisted, you probably throw the other one. They get into Reggie, which is kind of an interesting into a loaded Giratina, but I guess they're doing super effective as well. Do grab one shield. and they are not counting. So I'm going to grab a second one here because they are loaded with energy. They're not going to want this energy to go down. And then instant swapping. I kind of like this. I kind of like this move because Giratina has no chance. Like maybe if you stay in that matchup, you Dragon Breath a couple more down. That makes this Poison Jab a little easier. But otherwise, you're just giving them free energy. So it's not the worst case scenario to instant swap. Unfortunately, they still, because they were loaded, have two dragon energies. You do shield up both, which is nice. Getting a super effective draw run off. Well, chip, not take out because, whoa, it did take out? Was that an under, oh, was that like a 1200 Reggie? Did I see the CP on this Reggie at like 1200? There's no way. Oh no. Oh yeah, 1326. Yeah, there's no way a draw run takes out from this range. A non-stab draw run from a seaking. No way that takes out like a 50% Reggie. So very lucky that it was a 1326 Reggie. Getting off the Icy Wind. I don't really know the point of that Giratina when you have a super strong answer here. Okay, Fret. Fret's one you can leave if they're not even running Sucker Punch. Okay. So I guess with Dragon Breath that makes it a bit better, but if it was Sucker Punch, it's still one of those you might want to get out of. But it's not a Sucker Punch. Because it was not a Sucker Punch, maybe you wanted to stay in that matchup because then they have... Okay. You can't... Okay, let me just explain the proper analysis and then what happened in this game and then why you ended up making the bad move in the ending. When you see a Ferret against a normal player, I mean, one, you're usually running Shadow Claw, and if you're running Shadow Claw, it's just like an instant swap. Even running Dragon Breath, where the Giratina matchup becomes much, much better, if it's... You know, with Dragon Breath, I can actually see an argument that you can stay in because they have no charge moves for you. Once we saw that they don't have the right fast move, not only do they not have the fast move doing any damage to you, we know they have no charge moves. We know it's going to be Resisted Swift, Resisted Trailblaze with a fast move that's not doing anything. You have Dragon Breath hitting neutral. You have Dragon Claw hitting neutral. This is an easy stay after we figure out that they're not running Sucker Punch. To leave that matchup when you know they have Trailblaze into a seaking, which is only hitting neutral in all these situations, taking neutral from their fast move, and have to watch for the Trailblaze does not make sense, like, at all. You had a fantastic lead because they didn't have Sucker Punch that you just should have stayed in this matchup. So now you got a Trailblaze that hits super effective, so you have to shield that up. Their attack has now risen by 2. So I'm going to try and lower this with an Icy Wind. It is non-stab, so they do shield, knowing they're probably going to get to a third one here. Okay, good outpace there. 7-6, not bad. 14-12 on these moves. And I know this is getting Peck next season, so maybe that changes it. Again, non-stab. Mighty Yama. What are we doing? Like a Fire Fang Mighty Yama or something? What? Mightyena? Mightyena? I don't know how to pronounce this. Obviously, if you've been around this channel for a while, you know I do not know how to pronounce these Pokemon names. I do not play the main series games. Okay, so Sucker Punch down. Whiscash comes in, which is fantastic. Mud Shot's resisted, going straight for the Brave Bird. Do they have any shields? If not, Brave Bird and dipping is not the worst case scenario, but you got to dip here. I mean, it does not matter because of how low they are, but just sort of best practice. If you were going to Brave Bird and you have like a 50% health Pokemon sitting in the back there, you Brave Bird and then dip into that Pokemon. Como. So usually would have been a bad one, but Dragon Breath against Dragon Tail, kind of evenish. Dedenne, yeah, you got to come Seaking right away. A little slow. They're getting to their discharge, not even a parabolic charge. I guess discharge spams faster though. Holy smokes, here comes another one before we even get to our first Icy Wind. but wanting to lower the attack before we take a move here. And they decide 2 shields are gone. I have done my job. Como again comes in. I don't know why I said again. Icy Wind super effective on the dragon, so they're likely to shield. And instant swap, do get a move off. I was kind of worried that just instant swapping into a loaded might not be the best play. Do get 1 move off. I know their attack is lowered, but they're going to have like close to 100 energy here now. So Clanging Scales, almost one-shots. The defense falls, but they're close to a second move already, so it does not matter that the defense falls too much. Seaking comes in, but it's going to have to take one of these moves too, and then we're just going to have to try and sweep with, oh, nice, kind of smart. Kind of smart bank there, knowing that you have a full move. Can't get out, can't get out. Samurott is going to spam pretty quick. And 2 Hydros will take out. So now you're in the kind of terrible scenario that you need to... Oh, they only have Razor Shell. So now you have to commit to the farm down and come out with energy. There's no option. But if they had 2 Hydros, you would have been taken out. Because your opponent has a move. So you have to commit to the farm down and come out with it and throw blindly now. Yes. So this is correct. Like that... In the end, that was the correct play. You have to commit to the farm down. If they had Hydro Cannon, you had no shot to commit to that farm down, but they did not. Giratina into Amora. 1391 HP Amora at that. So not even... I mean, it's not even an Aurorus. What does Amora get up to? I don't have no freaking clue. Anyways, catching a Weather Ball, which is nice. They have an Electabuzz. So it's funny that we're showcasing this the last week of the season when these are Pokemon that you would expect to see the first week of the season. Going for the Joran. Joran is super effective here on the electric, so this will take out if it lands. They do end up shielding. At this point, I think you just let it go and come in Giratina and farm with Giratina. No. There's no point. You have Giratina, which resists electric. You can just get ahead at energy there. I don't see a point of trying to take this out. Now they're just gonna get the farm down and come out with energy. I have no idea what the second move is. If it's all electric, you're fine, but now you lost switch, no shields, gonna have to take whatever this electric or whatever this move is. Hope it's not like a nuke. Even a resisted electric nuke would hurt. Thunderbolt's gonna chip you pretty low, and out comes a fire Pokemon. Sensi Scorch, is that what this Pokemon's called? And gonna take the charge move here. It is a lunge. That does a decent amount. I mean, I expect these Pokemon who are otherwise glassy to be a little hard hitting. Amora is what, a half rock here? Or is it just ice? I don't even know what Amora is. It's half rock too. So that is resisted. You're double weak to ice here. They're gonna have energy and gonna go down there. Okay, so look, if a non-member submitted this team 1 week left in the season, 1900 elo, would I showcase it? Absolutely not. But you know what? That's what we do for members. We thank you for the support. Thank you for propping up this channel and making me come back. I mean, all subscribers, don't get me wrong, all subscribers do that, but those who give financially too, kind of go a little extra there. So we will definitely showcase these. I know I got another one that is another newer member who has a Master League video, so we're going to showcase that probably this weekend sometime, so stay tuned for that. And then again, if I'm at 2830, if I hit legend, you'll see that. If I don't hit legend, I'll probably do a an analysis of why I didn't hit legend, and then we'll cover the next season for the last, like, Sunday, Monday, maybe 2 videos on Monday. Actually, I think that's my go. If I hit legend Monday, you're gonna see probably 1 huge video covering the next season and a legend run. And if I don't hit legend, then you're gonna see 2 for next season. Although if I hit legend early, maybe you'll see it on Friday, Saturday. I don't know. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.